That was Thunderstone with Without Wings off of Tools of Destruction. And that pretty much wraps up Mostly Metal for tonight. It's about time to turn things over to the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program, but that's not going to take the full half hour, I don't think. So there might be a, what do you call it, a stinger, like when you wait till the end of the credits of a movie and then suddenly there's another scene or an appendix or something. But I'm going to talk about wrestling shows coming up in the region over the next couple of weeks. And then whatever time is left between the finish of that and 10 o'clock, I will fill with music again. So maybe some more metal coming your way in a little while. But for now, here on WVLP 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana, it's...
Your insubordination will not be tolerated!
It's me again, Ken the Metal Professor. Ken the Wrestling Journalist. Haha, how about that? It is the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program, which is a really fancy way of saying that I'm a wrestling fan. Yes, I admit it. And I like to talk about wrestling. And since I have this microphone, I like to use it to help spread information about things that are going on. And if you've heard this show in the past, you know that sometimes I have guests in the studio, and sometimes I don't. And when I don't, what I like to do is just give an overview. What's been happening recently? What's coming up soon? Things are kind of winding down this time of year for a lot of the promotions that work in this area, but there's still a few high-profile shows left, so I'll tell you about those. Tonight is Survivor Series night. All you fellow wrestling fans know about that. In fact, it's going on right now. I got to watch the first hour and a half of it before I left to come in here to the studio. And then when I get home, I will be able to watch the rest of it. And even better, I'll be able to fast forward through the boring stuff in between the matches and just, whittle down this 2.5 hours that I have left over down to probably like an hour and 15 minutes of actual action. Trying to stay away from spoilers between now and then, though, which isn't very hard. Just don't read Reddit. That's the way to do it. So, wrestling in Northwest Indiana is not quite like Survivor Series. There's fewer people involved in smaller crowds, but it's still lots of fun. And the number of organizations we have operating around here has shrunk a little bit. Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling, which runs in Valparaiso, is kind of on a hiatus, although it sounds like things might be cooking to bring something back in the early part of next year. And Fire Pro Wrestling, which was running in Merrillville, Indiana, and you heard me talk about that promotion several times, and had some guests from that promotion in the studio. They are sort of on a hiatus as well, and we'll see whether or not they make a comeback in 2018 and at the same location or not. Fortunately, a lot of the people around here, most of the people that work in wrestling around here, do it for more than one promotion. So even though, say, Fire Pro isn't very active, a lot of these guys and gals are able to keep busy with their passion with other organizations. One of the organizations that is around here and running strong is ACW, Acme Championship Wrestling. And so I'll start with them because they had a show last weekend. It was November 12th at Kankakee Valley High School. And if you've listened to the show recently, you might have heard me talking about this or playing information about it. This was the John Hendel Cancer Benefit Show. So it wasn't just any old wrestling show. It was a show used as a fundraiser for a family that was close to that particular organization. Held at Kankakee Valley High School. And one of the matches on the show was a pretty high-profile match between Jeremy Hadley and Tristan Hayes, and they were going at each other on Facebook, and I'd been playing their verbal, what do you call them? Catapult. What are those things that get launched by a catapult? The big rocks that, get put in the catapult and launched and fly through the air and then blow up. Whatever those are, they were launching them at each other verbally, and I was playing some of those here on the show. and that match came to fruition. But that was the main event of that night last weekend. I was there, so if you want to read many details about this and see pictures, you can go to metalprofessor.com, and the lead post there is called Outside the Ropes, and it's a recap of this particular show. So the first match of the night had Rockstar Johnny Nye and El Muchacho, who defeating Crimson Dynamo and Justin Myers. Rockstar Johnny Nye has been in the studio here before. How you doing, Johnny, if you're listening to this? That was a pretty good opening tag match. I had not seen El Muchacho before. And yeah, you know, I don't believe in cultural appropriation as a thing. But on the other hand, if somebody's name is El Muchacho, I'm thinking maybe they should probably at least be from the Southwest, if not farther south, maybe. But, you know, I'm not saying he wasn't. The guy wore a mask, but he was very, very pale. He looked like me, very pasty white. So maybe he had a good mustache. I don't know. But anyway, Rockstar Johnny Nye and the new to me El Muchacho won that match. Then we had Jared Kripke taking on Adam Bueller. Jared and Adam are both found in many places in this area. They show up a lot. Jared Kripke won that match. And then Bradley Alexander Dawson, check out those initials, BAD. He defeated Billy the Kid by cheating. That was very bad. Let's see. Dave Allen defeated Johnny Motley. Dave's been in here in the studio, and he's also a new dad, so congratulations, Dave Allen, on your most recent bout with fatherhood. Bout with, I made it sound like a disease. But good luck. And you watch his pictures on Facebook. He seems like a good dad. I'm proud of him. But anyway, he defeated Johnny Motley, and Johnny's one of the folks that I'd like to get in here to talk wrestling to, so I'll keep working on that. Match number 5 was a fatal four-way kind of thing. Austin Fury and Xavier Black and Quinn Whittick and Joey Dalton. And this was a really intense but quick match. They got tired really, really fast. Xavier Black ended up winning that. And then match 6 was a tag team match. 75% of the people involved in this match have been on the show. TK0 and Cliff Caviar were teamed up against Top Guns, and this was a debut match for Top Guns in ACW. This was a lot of fun, and Top Guns ended up taking the win. We had a triple threat match, Rick Raid versus Macho Del Silver versus Drex Odell. Drex has been in here. Hey, Drex, how you doing? And let's see, Macho Del Silver won that one. Sorry, I lost my place for a second. I couldn't remember right away. And then the main event was finally Jeremy Hadley against Tristan Hayes, and this lived up to the billing. Those guys were brawling with each other before the match even started. They didn't get in the ring for quite a while because they were busy throwing each other through chairs and up the bleachers and into brick walls and into tables and all sorts of craziness. But finally, at the very end of it, Tristan Hayes ended up coming away with the win. But it was very back and forth, and it was a heck of a lot of fun to watch. So I really enjoyed the work that both guys did in that match. So that was ACW. Now they have another show coming up in December. I think it's December 9th, Saturday. So that'd be the second Saturday in December. It's called Winter Warfare 5. And I don't know a whole lot of information about that. However, next week I will have in the studio Mr. Kyle Kaler, who is going to be a lot of fun to talk to because he's young and relatively new in the business around here, but he is getting around. So he was just in North Dakota, I believe, to do some wrestling, and then the reason he couldn't be in here today is because he was working on getting a gig, I think, in Massachusetts. So he's doing some good work, and he's hopefully got some good stories to tell, and he is involved in ACW, so maybe he can bring us some details about what's going on. Okay, so that's what happened last week, and I wanted to put that in there as a follow-up to all the talking that had been happening about that particular show on this show here on WVLP. So that sort of gives us closure to the whole thing. There was the cancer benefit show. Jeremy Hadley and Tristan Hayes were yelling at each other. They got to beat each other up. Money was raised for a good cause, and everybody went home happy. There you go. Now we're caught up to today. So what's going to happen in the next few weeks? Well, that Winter Warfare 5 by ACW coming up December 9th. Keep that on the calendar. And then 2 shows before that. One is coming up 3 nights from now. And this is going to be ARW Pro, Adrenaline Ringside Wrestling, this coming Wednesday. It is Black and Blue Wednesday, the Wednesday right before Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving Eve. So you can fill up on wrestling rather than kind of pre-gaming your stomach for that big Sunday feast, or big Thanksgiving feast. So here's what's going on that show, which is it's the year-end show for ARW, so it's kind of WrestleMania-like in the sense that a lot of the stories that have been being told over the last while are coming to a head and get resolved at this event. And so, for example, we have a three-way match for the Women's Championship. Brand new Women's Championship, in fact, will be handed over to the winner of this match between Moxie Molly, who has visited here several weeks ago, versus Vanessa Azure and Sierra. Now, Sierra has Chaz Moretti in her corner. He is her agent. And Chaz, Mr. Moretti, was in this studio also a few weeks ago. And got to keep an eye on him when he's usually up to something, because if he's your agent, he's the best agent in the world. If he is somebody else's agent, he's the worst guy ever. And so we'll keep an eye on him, but we'll see who comes away there with the women's title. Now, another story that's been brewing for a while has to do with the family. This is with Charlie Jr. as sort of the patriarch of the family, and you have Ivan Manson and Old School Manson and Rancid Joey Rack, and Excalibur has been hanging around on the fringes of that group. But last week, he took on Dakota Prodigy. Not last week, the last show. He took on Dakota Prodigy and defeated Dakota for the Indiana State Championship. And at the end of that match, King Bishop, friend of the show, who owns ARW, came out and told Excalibur how proud he was of him for doing it without any assistance from the people in the family. He just came out there by himself and took care of business, and that was good to see. The fans appreciated this. King Bishop appreciated this. Charlie Jr. did not appreciate this, so he came out to yell at Excalibur for kind of going into business for himself. And so now the family is mad at Excalibur, and I don't exactly know who Excalibur is going to face. I don't remember if they said, but it will be Excalibur celebrating his independence from the family, taking on one or more members of the family. We also have Max Holiday versus Rough Crossing for the ARW heavyweight title. This used to be held by Max Holiday. Then it was won by Rough Crossing. And then there was a very interesting situation where Rough Crossing and Max Holiday teamed up to take on Aggravated Assault, who hold the tag team titles, managed by Chaz Moretti. The guy's everywhere. Rough Crossing and Max Holiday managed to semi-coexist through that particular match, but at the end of the match, Rough Crossing hit the reset button by clobbering Max Holiday. Never trust a cowboy, he said, and then he clobbered him. Max Holiday gets his rematch for what used to be his heavyweight title at this show coming up. So you can see a lot of things are sort of coming to a head. Other people that will be on the show, but I'm not exactly sure what's going on with them. Nick Cutler, Kevin Storm, Theo Storm, I think will be there. Diamond Steel will be a special guest. And there will be others. I'm sure Aggravated Assault will be in action for the tag team titles and so on. So it's going to be a good show. Tickets are $10. It's in Lake Station at the American Legion. Easy to find, easy to get to. You should consider it. Come say hi to me if you find your way there. I'm easy to spot. 6'4", long hair, beard, pretty ugly. I will stand out like a sore thumb. All right, the other show that's coming up soon will be in Crown Point. It's the third show run by the new promotion Black Label Pro. Mikey Blanton is the brainchild of this operation, and he's been in before to talk to us about it. And maybe next week, while Kyle is in the studio, maybe I can get Mikey to stop by or give us a call in and tell us a lot of the details about this particular card. I have some of the matches written down. Others have been posted to Facebook, but they're posted in an image that looks like a comic book. It has like 8 small cells with the matches, and you can't really read it off the screen. And when you go to magnify it, it kind of blurs out because of the resolution. So some of the names, I'm just not familiar with the folks, and so I couldn't tell what their names were. But here's what I do know. Gangrel and Kevin Thorne, both ex-WWE folks, will be on hand, and they will actually be in a tag team match, the two of them together, taking on a different team that I wasn't able to figure out who it was. We will have Filthy Tom Lawler taking on AJ Gray. Now, this particular match is the one that's been the Black Label Pro Darkest Timeline Championship Tournament. It will be the end result of that. There were qualifying matches at the first BLP show, more qualifying matches at the second Black Label Pro show, and then this third show will be the winners of the qualifying rounds taking on each other to finally crown a winner of this tournament. So again, Filthy Tom Lawler versus AJ Gray. Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara was a real hotshot performer that I saw at the first Black Label Pro show. I'm very much looking forward to watching him perform again. I've not seen Darby Allin before, but I think I've heard good things. Eric Ryan, I believe, versus Gary J. And Mia Kim versus Sage Phillips. That will be an interesting intergender match. I've seen Sage Phillips before. Mia Kim has been on television with Impact Wrestling. Sage is from Bloomington, and anybody from Bloomington, Indiana is a friend of mine because I love that town. So I will be rooting for Sage, and it doesn't matter if he's the good guy or the bad guy. I don't care. So there will be plenty of other matches at this show, and like I said, maybe, hey, Mikey, if you're out there, I'll get in touch soon and see if you would like to give a ring to the studio or actually drop by next Sunday night for a few minutes and give us the skinny on what's going on, because next Sunday night will be the last Sunday before this show. Okay, so running down this overview one more time. Coming up this Wednesday, Black and Blue Wednesday, ARW Pro in Lake Station at American Legion 100. Tickets are $10. December 1st in the evening in Crown Point at the On the Square Sports Academy, Black Label Pro with the event called First of the Month. The is spelled T-H-A. Mikey. That is the third show of theirs, and it's the culmination of the Darkest Timeline Championship Tournament. And then December 9th, we've got ACW's Winter Warfare 5. And I believe those are the biggest events coming up close to Valpo between now and Christmas. If I find out about others, I will let you know. To keep track of these things later on, when you're not listening to me yap on about them, you can go to metalprofessor.com and look for the little page, the NWIWRAP page, and the shows from 2017, or nwirap.wvlp@gmail.com. There is a Google Calendar you should be able to pull into your own that has these events on there as well, or at least it should. I need to check and make sure that I've got it up to date. I might not, but I'll fix that this week because I have all week off for Thanksgiving. Oh, isn't that terrible? So 2 days while the kids are in school and I'm not. Oh, it's going to be glorious. And I'll probably catch up on some things like that while I'm doing it. Anyway, I'm Ken the Metal Professor. That's been the wrestling rundown here for Northwest Indiana, the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program, if you want to give it a name. That's the name I gave it, and we're stuck with it now. So that was it. Next week, Kyle Kaler will be here to talk about all of his wrestling adventures and hopefully give us some more information about this ACW Winter Warfare show that's coming up soon. And now, here on WVLP 103.1 FM, Valparaiso, Indiana, I will fill the last little bit of time we've got with music. So I'm going to start playing The Last Goodbye by Circus Maximus. It'll be the live version of this. And, yeah, have a good week. See you next time.